Hey, Dee, would you like to feel old?
Not particularly, but I'll bite.
So, remember the movie Jaws?
How could I forget it scared me?
It came out 50 years ago this summer.
Did it scare you? You were older when you went to see it than
Uh,
I was.
we all knew that at the beginning it was going to be doo doo
Yeah,
doo doo. So, we kind of squinted through that, but no, it's an interesting movie. I'd watch it again.
we saw part of it the other day and it was pretty good. So, yeah. So, do you want to go for a swim?
No, I want to get started on this episode.
Okay. Welcome to the Garden Angelus, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I am Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country.
And I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
Do we still introduce ourselves because somebody might just wander in?
Yes, somebody might be brand new, and so we need to tell everybody once again. So on with the intro. On.
I'm always the troublemaker. We are the Garden Angelists because we love gardening and we want you to love it too.
Yes, we do, and we aren't afraid to tell all of our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode. Good afternoon, Dee.
Good afternoon, Carol. We moved it to the afternoon
We
because I was
did.
supposed to have a worker here, but it didn't happen. On to
Well,
other things. What's
yes.
going on in your garden?
So I am starting to get a little trickle of tomatoes, enough to have a BLT, and I posted a nice picture
I
of it on
saw it. That
Instagram.
was pretty.
Yes, yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
I picked a lot that had blossom end rot and tossed them into the compost pile. Again, it's a calcium deficiency, not much you can do about it. Roma tomatoes, in particular, early in the season, are going to get blossom end rot.
Yeah, they're the worst. The Roma tomatoes are the
They
worst.
are. And so I'm just
Hands down.
picking and chucking.
And it all has to do with, as long as we're on this subject, it all has to do with rainfall and how the plant isn't able to take up calcium from the soil. And we get questions about this every year. And, just pick off the bad ones, throw them away, and go on with your life. You'll have good ones in the future.
That's right. And so we have gotten rain sporadically, like a half inch here, quarter inch there, like in the evenings and stuff. So that's been kind of fun. I did do a bunch of weeding and I planted out some hollyhock seedlings, and the whole two sides of the vegetable garden have flower beds, like with
Yep.
zinnias and marigolds. And it's like it started with one weed, and the next thing I know, I weeded the whole thing out there. So anyway, in other words, I'm just kind of messing around out there. It's summertime.
Yeah. Yeah. Here too. So we got the gates installed. I don't remember if I mentioned that last week.
Yes, you mentioned that you got
Um,
the gates, or
they
you were
still need to
getting the
be
gates.
They still need to be braced, but we're getting there. And we worked on the watering systems because I get this question a lot. So I'm glad I brought this up. I put in this question. I put in Netafim or I put in X, and critter A, critter B, or critter C chewed through my water lines. And people are very upset about that. And I'm like, well, it's a water source. The little creatures can smell it, and so that's going to happen. The other thing that happens to mine is that, connections get old
Yep.
and they burst, which is what was happening this week, or I hit them with a hand hoe, or I cut through them with clippers when I'm cutting down the grasses in spring. So when you install any kind of irrigation system, whether it's soaker hoses, Netafim, whatever you use, you are going to have to repair it periodically, period. Okay.
Yeah. But
Um,
wait, that reminds me, I have those really lightweight hoses that I bought at Sam's Club.
yeah.
And I've noticed, especially the one in back, it tends to kink in the same places over and over. And I know it's a real light tubing in there. And I thought, I'm just going to have to go find another one because it just kinks in the same places over and over again. It's annoying me. So I thought if I got a brand new one, it probably would do that. So I might get a
Yeah,
new hose.
not for a year or two. And the truth is, no matter what hose you get, it's going to kink. Don't buy the Never Kinks. They are terrible. They're the worst, and they're really heavy. So let's see what else. It rained again on Thursday afternoon. I got a 3/4 of an inch. It's hot and humid. And I told a friend that I wasn't going to go out there, but then I did because I had some time to kill. So I ran outside and I just clipped back some of the lavender and stuff.
That sounds good. And you probably put a reel out there. Did you put a reel on that?
not this time. Nope.
Okay.
I just wanna you know what? I didn't even take out my phone.
What? What if I had called?
My watch would have told me.
Oh, okay. I don't even wear my watch anymore because the battery's so bad on it. It just holds a charge for like half the day, and I'm like, you know what? I really don't need this watch, so it's in the drawer.
I know you quit because I don't see your workout anymore. Anyway,
Oh, that's right. My workout was on your watch.
yeah, we
Crazy.
used to share our workouts. All right, play favorites.
So my favorite this week, I think it was my favorite last summer at this time, is that double tiger lily, the Lilium
Yeah, it was.
lancifolium flor pleno. I love that thing.
Laura Pleno.
I mean, it's big, it's orange, it's spotted. It just kind of looks like it's like, here I am, and it's talking to you and saying, hello, Carol, we're back.
Isn't that nice?
It is
I love
pretty.
those return I love those return occupants who you see
And
every year and you're like, "Oh, there you are."
and it will self sow a little bit. It's got those little bulbils in the leaf axils that drop down, and I just let them drop. And so I actually have one in the vegetable garden in the flower border, and yeah, and one in another border. So that's my favorite. And yours?
My favorites this week are my 2 big red crepe myrtles. I cut down my other crepe myrtles in the front part of the bed because I shrunk down the bed. They are coming back as shrubs, and I'll have to decide what I wanna do with those, but the ones in the back that are big, tall trees, I
Uh huh.
can see them. 'em I'm pointing because I can see them from here, and they're the most beautiful shade of red, and they come back every year, and someone's gonna ask me, "Which variety is that?" And I'll be like, "I don't remember, but I posted on them last year on Instagram, and I've posted about them on the blog." So just search red crepe myrtle. These actually attract a ton of pollinators too,
That's
little
nice.
bitty ones.
I was going to
So
say,
that was beautiful.
as we know here in Indiana, the crepe myrtle will only be a big shrub, which reminds me that I planted one out in the Plopper's field, which is so
Yeah.
overgrown. I thought, and it's one of the ones with the dark leaves.
Mhm.
I thought I need to go out there and see if it's surviving in the big crush of growth.
I'll be interested because I cannot get the black-leaved ones to
I
do
will
anything.
I will make a note to go look for the
I should
crepe
wait a
myrtle.
minute. I should Somebody's gonna go, "What?" Okay, so I can do dark leafed crepe myrtles, it's just the ones that are really black. I can't do those. I've tried them and tried them. Alright, question of the week. I think you should do the fan mail.
So we did get some lovely fan mail. This is from our listener Logan, and he wrote, "As always, I really enjoyed this episode. Thank you, Logan. I always love the gardening talk, but could also relate to your rabbit holes this week. Thanks for shouting out Missouri's Butterfly Highway. And if you didn't listen to us last week, we did shout out Missouri's Butterfly Highway." He says, "We
Mhm.
live about an hour from Hamilton, Missouri. My husband's family is from Hamilton, and they have a museum about his great uncle, J.C. Penney.
What do you know?
And they live, he says, we live in Smithville, Missouri, which is about 10 minutes from a giant construction project of Meta and Google data centers. It's definitely crazy to see this construction when it used to be all crop fields. See you next week."
Yeah, they have really good cropland out there. The part of, Missouri that my family's from is extremely rocky, and yeah, but good on that. Thanks, Logan. I appreciate that, and it was fascinating to learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just never know. So, this is a question from Casey to me. You wanna ask it?
I had a question somewhat garden related, then thought you might be the best advice. What do you do about cicada killer? And she called them hornets. They're really wasp.
Yeah,
I had some move in last summer when it was so dry out, and now they're back. I like to peacefully deadhead and weed those areas, but now I'm in their territory and they scare me a bit. Haha, do you just leave them be or have a way to get rid of them so you can tend the flowers in peace? Thank you. Can't wait to see more videos.
and Carol and I can both answer this question. That cicada killer is a female, and she's not interested in you at all. You would have to, like, snatch her out of the sky to get her to sting you because
Well,
all
no,
she's
there's
doing.
another way. My youngest sister has shown how you can get one to sting you.
How?
Have it accidentally fly up your skirt and get
Okay,
tangled up, and then it will
yeah,
sting you on your thigh and it will hurt like the dickens.
yeah, it does hurt really bad if one stings you. Okay, so don't wear a dress out there. You shouldn't be wearing a dress out there
She
where
was
you're
just came
weeding.
back from work and was
No,
standing outside, yeah.
no judgment on your sister. She was just living her life. But I'm saying if you're out gardening, you
Exactly.
probably aren't wearing a dress to weed, I wouldn't think, unless you're just into that whole back to the dress movement. And if so, you might get stung because that actually happened to a friend of mine with not a cicada killer. It was actually with a wheel bug, an assassin bug.
Those are
It flew
fatal.
down her dress when we were at a thing and it bit the heck out of her. But normally, cicada killers have no interest in you at all. They are females and they are looking for cicadas because they grab cicadas and they take them to their nest, which is a single nest, and they feed them to their young. It's really
Yes.
gross and disgusting
Yeah,
how
well,
that
it's
goes
a little
about.
bit to add to that, their sting paralyzes the cicada. So the cicada is down in their hole, they lay the eggs on top, and then when the baby cicada killers are born, they can feast on that paralyzed
Alive.
cicada.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
alive.
preserves the
I mean, it's
meat.
really, really a horrible way to go for the cicada, but the cicada killer has no interest in you at all. They are so mild that I had one in my potager, and I didn't want her to make this nest in my potager because I wanted to be able to, and she might protect her nest. So I actually filled it with water 3 times trying to get her attention to get out, and then she did, and then she flew off, made a nest in another hole.
Well, I was
So
gonna say, the one that's flying around the nest is the
stay away
male
from.
cicada, and he's worthless. He has no
Yeah,
stinger.
because all male wasps, as far as I know, and I know for sure with bees, do not have stingers.
So it's just
She
kind of
wasn't flying
acting
around the
menacing.
nest.
It's just
Yeah,
acting
they're
all
just supposed to
menacing.
look tough, but they have no stinger.
Bluster. Let's move
Oh,
on to a
bless them.
happy topic. Like, you got a question about how do you control the number of 4 o'clocks? Because those flowers, and I've had them before, they will self sow like nobody's business.
They will if you let them. So I have the salmon sunset variety. It's my favorite variety next to limelight, which is lime green with pink. Salmon sunset is green with this beautiful salmon color and it has a beautiful pink center and nectar guides. So I love that one. People are going to ask where I got the seeds. It was from Baker Creek 1,000 years ago. So
And
occasionally with,
yeah, and
uh,
that's you only have to buy the seed once.
right, because it self sows. But occasionally when it self sows, I will get a few pink ones that come
Hmm.
out and I pull them out immediately. And if they're big enough, if I've missed them and they're big enough, I dig out their tubers because that's the thing about the pink ones. They make tubers and they also are prolific self sowers. The salmon sunset does not seem to make a tuber in my garden. It just self sows. So it comes up new every year and it's
Right.
really pretty. So I don't have any trouble with them. Another thing you could do if you like the pink ones, just chop them off before they go to seed,
Yeah.
before they
Easy.
form
Yeah.
seed. That's what
Yeah.
you could do.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have self sowers for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want the pink ones. So there's that.
No. No.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a quote. It was June and the world smelled of roses. The sunshine was like powdered gold over the grassy hillside. I don't know why I said greasy. I, first of all, I thought, why do we have a quote about June? It's late July. Let me
It
do
doesn't
that all
matter.
over again.
Just say it as though it's summer. Use the
It was
of
June and the world smelled of roses. The sunshine was like powdered gold over the grassy hillside. And that is Maud Hart Lovelace. Betsy,
Lovelace.
Tacy, and Tib is the name.
I should have done this one. So
Yeah,
the name
that's
of
your
the book
favorite.
is Betsy, Tacy, and Tib. The Betsy Tacy books, for those who don't know, are the cutest thing ever for little kids. That are just starting to read well. Little chapter books. And they're old and they have nothing controversial in them. Nothing at
Yay.
all. Yay. So flowers, we're in R, and R is for a
Ru-
big genus.
Rudbeckia, the black-eyed Susans, and you put 2 on there. I have a big
Yeah.
bed of them, but they're getting
So
shaded, so they do not bloom well.
so are yours the fuzzy leaf ones or the
Oh, no.
non-fuzzies?
No, they're the, unfuzzies. They're the gold storms.
They're Goldsturm. Okay, so everybody knows that listens to us that Goldsturm drives me nuts. However, every year when it blooms, it redeems itself.
Yeah.
And it redeems itself in another way in my garden and actually our friend Teresa Byington texted me this week and she was like, "Is this a good Rudbeckia?" And it was Oh, it was a really good one too. It wasn't the Cherokee one, I don't think, but it doesn't matter. It was one of the nice hybrids, right? And I
Yeah.
said, well, it's Rudbeckia hirta, Hirta. And I said, it's a really good plant, but you have to watch out for caterpillars because the caterpillars of the silvery checker spot and what did I write on there?
Border
What's the other?
patch.
Thank you. Never can remember both of them. The border patch, whose larvae look almost alike to me, they love Rudbeckia hirta and sunflowers with a special kind of devouring love, and you will lose it in a day. And she was like, no way. And I said, yeah, yeah, you will. So both are perennial, but here's what you can do. This is the other way Goldsturm redeems itself. If you don't want to spray BT on your plants, you can take those caterpillars off. But the way to do that, because there's a bunch of them, is to pull off the leaf and go set it in Goldsturm. They don't love Goldsturm. It's not their first choice, but they will eat it. And you know what? Goldsturm just says, yeah, try to kill me.
Well, and I'm going to say this about my Goldstrom out there. I've never seen any caterpillars on it. I don't know what that says about my garden, but and maybe it's just a big enough patch and it's mostly foliage. It is blooming now, but it's a lot of foliage that they could get a lot of caterpillars eating on there and I would never notice. And I do
They're going to choose it first. They don't want
know.
it. Believe me. They would lots rather eat your herd at once. Maybe they're
And
sweeter.
I get black-eyed Susans coming up all different places in the garden and
Hmm.
so I'm like, "Yeah, you don't belong in the strawberry patch," and I pull it out, and I was just thinking, I should put some of them here in the front. They would look nice out by the bird feeder, and maybe they would, you know, do
I
well
think
there
they
because
do.
that's
I think they
nasty.
would. Well, and they can handle anything. Mine are the biggest patch I have. The one I really left and didn't try to eradicate is over by my air conditioner. So it gets blasted with hot air. So it does fine. So people get a kick out of that. Then I take them over there. Because here's the thing about BT. First of all, I like border patch caterpillars. I mean, I like the butterfly. And I like silvery checker spots. So I have to deal with the caterpillars.
That's right. And if your garden is big enough that it takes a lot of them to really destroy a area, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to destroy Rebecca Herta. I lost all of mine again.
So I
But,
will say
it
this
happens.
from memory, not from anything else, but I feel like that Rudbeckia hirta is
Hmm.
not as winter hardy for us as Goldstern. Goldstern will survive just fine.
Anything.
But Herta is often sold as a flowering plant to put in a container, and you'll often see it now in the garden centers blooming because if you're wanting to do a little summer refresh and start leaning your pots towards fall flowers, some people will plop in some Rudbeckia Herta in bloom in their pots.
I did that one year for fall. It was really beautiful. I think I
Yes.
did the ornamental peppers and the Rudbeckia Herta and some crotons. It was really pretty. All right. So next.
I will sit back and relax and enjoy the show, as they say, because you insisted upon putting roses on the list. Go for it.
Okay. Because how could we do letter R without roses? Really?
Really? Oh, it would just be a horrendous thing to do.
It would. Sort of like pea and no pansies, but I'm just saying. All right. So I think hybridizers have really cracked the code on scent, at least
Which is
the
good.
tea. Yeah. Because for a long time they were trying to create things that were disease resistant and tolerant of many things, but then they didn't have any scent at all. And a rose without scent is fairly boring much of the year. And so they've definitely cracked the tea scent. They're working on other ones that are a little more complicated because, as you know, roses have lots of different scents.
Yes, and do you
And
remember, I'm bringing you back around to Garden Com, and David Austin Roses had a booth, and they basically had, like, 10 different scented roses, and they asked you to smell each one, and you could really tell a big difference from one to
I
the
do
other.
remember all that.
We
Mhm.
I'm trying to think if that was Chicago or before Chicago, but we enjoyed doing it.
It was
Yeah.
fun, and Michael was great.
We were
He was
sniffing
just
the David Austin roses.
he's retired, but Michael was a great, what's the word?
Rosarian,
Yeah, ambassador
ambassador.
for David Austin Roses. So, and he also sent me some roses, which I really appreciated, and I still have some. So I don't spray much at all, if ever. So I try to use varieties that are rock solid with disease resistance. And so I have a couple of hybrid teas that I grow in pots, and I thought I would tell you guys quickly, like three that I really like this year that are kind
Okay.
of new to me, kind of. Okay, so Quietness is a Griffith Buck rose, Dr. Griffith Buck. Looks like a very modern hybrid tea, but it's not. I owe this to Teresa of Rose Chat Podcast. She loves quietness and she suggests it to people who don't grow roses a lot. It is scented. It looks like it has a pointed bud and it has a beautiful flower and it blooms. It's still blooming even in our heat this year. And let's see, lovely light pink. Then Bolero. Bolero is a new rose. Teresa said she loved it. I actually saw one that was bare root at Lowe's early in the season, and it looked like it was a good quality one because it was in a good packaging.
Uh-huh.
You have to be careful of what grade rose you buy. I put it in a pot, and it's done really, really well. Pretty disease resistant. It's white. And then there's, oh, I actually listed five. Okay, so one, yeah, one hybrid tea I really love is Dee Lish, and it's spelled like my name, and Lish is Lish. And it is not as disease resistant, but it smells amazing and it does really well in a pot. And then I really like in the David Austin category, Olivia Rose
Yes.
Austin. I talk about her all the time. That is one of the most disease resistant, beautiful, rewards you with blooms all summer long, which I mean, there's less in the summer, but you still get blooms, which is fairly unusual in my climate. And then there's Eustacia Vi, and it's just really, really beautiful. So I'll update you next year on other ones.
Cool.
See, that was fast.
That was pretty good.
Now we're going to
Next,
talk about a plant we don't grow.
rhododendrons. In the wrong climate, the world's most disappointing shrub, the rhododendron. And I see them blooming at the garden centers in the spring, and I see people buying them, and I think you're going to be disappointed if you don't have a very perfect spot for that.
Okay, here, don't even buy it if you happen to see one. I don't see roadies, as they're affectionately called by people who love them. I do not see them for sale, even in the box stores. You know what I do see are azaleas. And azaleas are
Yes.
their cousins. And frankly, if you don't have the right place, don't grow azaleas either. You'll be disappointed. And do a lot of research before you do them. Do you know where roadies like to live? They like to live in the Pacific Northwest, where they get huge and beautiful, and they like to live down in Virginia.
Right.
That's
And when I think of azaleas, I think of the South, and there's azalea trails, and people go all over. And so I did write
there's
down,
rhododendrons too. There's the big, huge, tall, like over by James Madison's house.
yeah,
There's 20-foot tall rhododendrons. So
because they are azaleas and rhododendrons are subgenera of the genus rhododendron.
yes,
And
and they grow very differently, but they have
yes.
similar blooms, sort of.
Well, I was looking up in the Big Bad Book of Botany, as one does, and I always said the difference between a rhododendron and an azalea is a rhododendron, I'll say, is semi-evergreen. It holds its leaves well into the spring when the new leaves push it off.
Right.
And the azaleas drop their leaves in the fall, and they'll actually, then when they're blooming, I think in the spring, they don't have their leaves yet.
No, they usually don't, unless it's an encore azalea. And encore azaleas bloom twice, so it's a whole
Yes.
different
But
thing. But they don't do well here.
yeah, in the Big Bag Book of Botany, he said the difference is that azaleas have more anthers on the flowers than rhododendrons. They count anthers.
Okay,
So,
like I'm not going to count anthers.
well, and then he goes on to say some rhododendrons are edible, and then some of them are toxic, and
Yeah, some are
so
poisonous.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he talks about how in the book James Joyce's Ulysses, the flower plays an important and symbolic role in Molly and Leopold's courtship. I don't know.
Okay.
There's just all kinds of stuff. So people that are into rhododendrons, generally, they start with azaleas and they join the azaleas.
The society. Yeah.
So anyway, that's rhododendrons. We neither one grow one. Although, I will tell you that over at Sewell's Gardens,
Mhm.
on the north side of their house, is one of the biggest rhododendrons I've ever seen, and it blooms really beautiful in the spring. And it's just like you'll see these little anomalies, I call them, where somebody's found like the perfect spot. and
Mhm.
they just do really, really well. But then somebody else will try to grow that on the north side and it'll be terrible.
Or it's some old rock hard variety that did really well here, and I can't think of the name of the plant right now, but there's a big shrub that you can grow really well in Tulsa. You cannot grow it really well down here, and I look at it but there occasionally I'll see really old varieties of it, and they're old, that rhodio's old because it's huge.
Exactly. And then, they hybridize and switch and change and try to make things better, and people don't want gigantic rhododendrons, so they try to dwarf them and make them smaller. And so, yeah, if you can find one of the big, big old fashioned ones, you might actually have better luck.
Yeah, but you need acidic soil, really, and
Yes, you do.
they don't like it here. Okay, so the next thing is rue. You
I
picked this.
I put rue on the list because a friend from Garden Club gave me some rue at the June
Mhm,
meeting, and it's an herb, and I've got it planted out in that same bed where there's going to be the hollyhocks and stuff. But
mhm.
do you have it at all?
No, I do not.
So I found an article, and we'll put it there, and so people can go look at it. But it said the rue's fragrance is aromatic and bittersweet, and the raw leaves have a very mild numbing effect on the tongue.
Okay.
So, and it was a common cooking herb for the Romans, but
Mhm,
not so much today. It's kind of considered an heirloom herb. It's Ruta graveolens. Evergreen, it says, hardy to zone 6, so we'll see how it does. No need to fertilize. It loves poor soil as many herbs do. And
mhm.
so, yeah, I'm not going to eat with it. D- They said it sometimes has a bad reputation for causing mild skin irritation, but not necessarily. Anyway,
There's a
and
lot of things that have mild skin irritation.
yeah, and
It
there's
looks like it has little tiny she has a close up. I said she who wrote this.
Jim
This
Mullins.
part okay, sorry, Jim. He has this picture that is close up and it looks like it has tiny hairs on it.
Yeah.
So maybe hmm.
I don't know if
Oh,
it's,
I've grown this before a long time ago. I'm looking at it now in the bigger picture that's further away. I've grown it before. It died out eventually.
yeah.
It's okay.
So
It's pretty. It's blue green.
I'm hoping it self sows, but it says rue was also used as a strewing herb. Fresh sprigs of the herb scattered on floors in the belief it would keep away the plague. It was a common herb believed to keep away witches, and that folk use evolved into the Catholic Church's practice of dipping branches of rue into holy water and sprinkling it over the heads of parishioners as a blessing, which
Hmm.
earned it a common name for the plant of herb of grace.
Who knew?
Who knew?
That's interesting.
So anyway, we'll see how my rue does out there.
Okay. Want me to do the quote?
You bet.
When you see a dandelion, do you see a wish or a weed? That's by L.R. Nost. And I see both. What do you see?
I see both. My front yard I'm converting over to completely organic. And so I go out there every once in a while and dig up the dandelions. I'm thinking, can I keep ahead of them? Can I keep ahead of the crabgrass? I'm just hoping that, with organic fertilizer and stuff, I can make the lawn more robust and it'll outdo the weeds. We'll see. But anyway, vegetables. R
Yeah.
is for root crops. And
Okay.
many, many people are disappointed with their root crops because they pull it up and there's nothing there or it's misshapen. And
Hmm.
so
Like carrots.
the secret to good carrots is very loose, friable soil deep down. So they don't,
Sandy.
yeah, they like it. They don't want they don't want to have to put a lot of energy into growing that big carrot.
No, they don't. And if you don't have loose, friable soil, like say you have partially loose, friable soil, grow one of the other kinds of carrots. Don't try to grow long
The
carrots.
long Danvers.
Yeah, the Danvers. Do a Chardonnay or that little Romeo guy or something like that. It's funny, I did a big article on that for Family Handyman. I bet it's gone too.
Yeah, because, yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Well, let's just talk about rosemary.
I love
Um,
rosemary. It's not a root crop.
No, but we're gonna jump to that because you brought up Family Handyman. Our articles are gradually disappearing, Dee.
They paid so much money for us to write those,
And
and they're
gradually,
gone.
So you said you wrote one on rosemary about both the
I
prostate
did.
and the bush
It
type,
was
and I went
hard.
looking
That's why I
for it.
remember it.
It's gone, Dee. It is
It's gone.
gone. A bunch of
I
mine are
know.
gone that I looked for. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I don't know why, but they got rid of a bunch of them. So that's the way it goes. Radishes are another root crop. I had a dismal radish year. I think it was too wet. They put all their effort into leaves and not because they have very good soil. There's no reason I shouldn't have had radishes, but
yeah, and radishes, they are easy to sow and you get something pretty quick. But lately, the only one that has done well for me is French breakfast, which
yeah.
is
I was
a long
doing
red with a white top.
I was doing cherry bell. It's okay. Maybe
Cherry
I
Bell
don't
has
have
not been doing well for me lately. I mean, it was a standard for a while, but I just can't.
I know. And French breakfast is pretty reliable.
It is. I'm thinking like next year I'll be all renegade and I will only grow French breakfast. Maybe
I think
this
that'd be
fall.
okay. That'd be all right. So next you mentioned rhubarb. I, it's funny because I can't grow rhubarb here, but up in Missouri they can. And Jean Ann, was it Krevelin? She was a writer, one of our garden writers. She was originally from Oklahoma, lived in
Right.
Seattle, super sweet. She could grow rhubarb like crazy in Oklahoma, but it might have been where she lived. I think she lived up by Tulsa at the time.
So I think of rhubarb as like a staple of the old farm garden that on the corner of everybody's garden there was a big stand of rhubarb. I don't
Used to
grow
be.
it. I don't cook with it. The biggest question people ask me about rhubarb is it started to flower. What should I do? And I say cut the flower off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're
don't
supposed
eat
to
the leaves, only eat the stems.
only eat the stems and they're sour. So get ready.
It's when people say they're going to make rhubarb strawberry pie or something like that, it's like
Oh,
rhubarb,
sugar. You're
it's just a
lots of
reason to
sugar.
add a bunch of sugar because
Yeah.
it is.
It's like we've talked about this before. It's like gooseberry pie. If you're going to do either one of those pies, you're just basically going to eat pink sugar or green sugar. Your
Yeah,
choice.
there you go. And then finally I put
Red bell peppers.
yes, red bell peppers. I put that on the list because people are like, "How do I get my peppers to turn red?" Or "Why aren't my peppers red?" I bought red peppers and they're all green.
You have to wait.
It
It's
takes
a
a
ripe
while.
fruit. Red peppers are ripe, green peppers are immature. And here's the thing about peppers. What happens if you wait and you harvest a bunch of red peppers, Carol?
Well, it's likely in some climates like mine, you could end up with a lot of them rotting before they actually turn red. They get blights on them and soft spots and they just don't make it. So, pick a nice green one.
Here they do just fine, but if you want your pepper plant to produce for a long time, pick green ones at first. Save the red ones for later in the season. But here's the problem. The later in the season, the more bug pressure you get. So, I'm not saying you can't do it. You can definitely do it.
It's just
It's just
trickier. It's a game of patience with those red peppers.
It is, with a lot of fruits that you're waiting to ripen.
Now I'm growing the impact pepper again, which we had last year. That's a red pepper. It's supposed to be more reliable, disease resistant. And I should be able to get some red ones out of that. So we'll see.
But here's the thing, the store has really good organic red peppers and they aren't that expensive now. So just something to think about if your peppers don't work. Go on and
Yeah.
grow them, but if it doesn't work, just go enjoy the ones from the store.
Yeah. Now I'm also growing one. I shouldn't say this because it's dragonfly. It's
Yes,
a
I've
purple
grown that
one
one.
and it's purple from the get go.
It's pretty, which purple is green. People need to know that. Dark purple is really green. So that's the unripe pepper. I actually ripened dragonfly. Came out kind of a red, sort of pinky
So
red.
I'm picking them as they're purple and they're just fine.
And when you cook them, do they turn green? Have you
I
noticed?
don't know. I
Oh,
haven't cooked them yet.
have you been doing them in a salad?
Yeah, just put a little in the
Okay.
salad. They're green on the inside.
Yeah, I suspect they turn green, like the purple okra and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, like purple green beans turn green when you cook them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm going to do a quote. We're going to go to the bookshelf. Many times the reading of a book has made the future of a man. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
On our bookshelf this week is one I found at the library. It's called Grow 5, and it is by Lucy Bellamy. And at first, when we first started looking this over to decide if we wanted to do it on the podcast, you go, "Are you sure?" And then we looked at it further and we were like, "Yeah, this is actually great."
Yeah.
And it's great because it's simple. Not to say that Lucy didn't put some work into it, because she did. She had to plant all of these different plants and then take
Combinations.
pictures of it all these, thank you, combinations. So what would you say about this book?
I would say a lot of people get very confused when they get to the garden center. There are so many choices and they just like, tell me some plants that would go together. And so for those people especially, this would be an excellent book to have because you could find, depending on what you want, like I just slipped over here to one that says Midsummer Cut Flower Patch, and she's got an allium called Mount Everest. She's got Ami Magus. She's got a dahlia. She's got another dahlia, and she's got Orlea, which we talked about on the O's. Orlea.
Yeah, what page is that?
That is page 110 and 111.
Thank you.
And so she's got all those listed. And so, like, okay, that would be a very pretty cutting garden, and you could plant all those. Now, the thing is, I believe that Lucy is British.
She is.
And so you must translate, and depending on your climate, like she's got a flowering calendar in the back, so she will tell you when things are going to be blooming, but you kind of have to, from your own observation, think about when it would be blooming in your garden.
Yeah, because if you turn to the next, like 116, 117, if my fox Drummondii, cherry caramel, I don't have cherry caramel, but I have other fox Drummondii. They don't always bloom at the same time as, say, my bronze fennel is starting
And
to bloom.
even year to year, something could decide to bloom early or decide to bloom late. So,
Like this year. This year has been
but it's still
nuts.
a good way to get some combinations and kind of like, okay, that makes sense.
It does,
So,
and she's got some really great plants in here that do well in the United States too. And almost every combination has kind of an airy plant, because some of this is made so that you could do it in pots. And so if you want to do it in pots, you just take her 5 things. But if you want to do it in a garden bed, for example, you would repeat these in sections. And that
yes.
would give you your deal. So here, though, let's see. So she's on page 137, and she's got Hemerocallis Stafford, which is a daylily. It's a red one, so that means it probably blooms later because red ones tend to bloom later. Then she's got Stipa tenissima, which is Mexican feathergrass. And our Mexican feathergrass it doesn't look like this at that same stage. And then she has bellflower and she has agapanthus. So some of this is at the same time, and African leafgrass. So they're all, I like her designs, and I think you could really do a lot with them, but you might have to change out the plants a little bit, but maybe
So
not.
go to page 146, 147.
Okay. Oh, my favorite plant.
There
She
you
calls it
go.
lilac. She calls it lilac threads, but boy. And so her
Well,
5 plants.
yes. She's got a
Wow.
carex, a lobelia, some
Oregano.
oregano, a thyme, and Verbena officinalis, variety grandiflora, Bampton.
Bampton. That's
Bampton.
I love Verbena Bampton. It is one of the prettiest plants I've ever grown. And I'm getting ready to cut mine back on the porch. I'm looking at it over on the deck.
Yeah.
But it's time to cut it back and let the other plant that's grown up with it, the sun coleus, have a little sun. But it
Right.
is so pretty. It's so pretty. And some of the new ornamental oreganos, this is probably an ornamental oregano that she's talking about in here. Some of them are just really beautiful this year.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 kinds.
Well, and the other thing about the book, the Grow 5, is it's by season. So it starts in spring and ends in winter. And so, like the very last one, I think, don't quote me, is she has 5 kinds of snowdrops.
Oh,
I want to say.
nice. Which
Yeah,
they don't do
is
well
that
in
the very last
Oklahoma, but
one?
that's okay. I don't
So
know.
they don't do very well. Yes, that's the last one is the snowdrops. And she has 5 varieties listed. So there you
It's
go.
also just a feast for the eyes.
Yes, great
So
pictures.
they have beautiful pictures, beautiful combinations. If you're tired of doing the same old thing, I think it would give you some a good shot in the arm because about this time of year, we're all kind of tired. We're starting to get tired. And so it's just a good shot in the arm. On page 124, 125, it's all pelargoniums.
There you go.
All pelargoniums in one spot. I can't imagine other than a theater, but so great. Oh, and down on the bottom, she tells you what everything is good for. Like
Yeah.
for, your pollinators, which pollinators are attracted. And oh, I
Yeah,
like this
that's
one a
good.
lot. 140 and 141. It's Salvia caridana, Russian sage blue spire, Orangium sea holly, Echinacea pallida, and then Verbena bonariensis. That is just a study in blue and purple, isn't it, Carol?
Yes, it is. It is. It's very lovely.
So
That
a
one's,
fun book.
yeah. And that is Grow 5 Simple Seasonal Ideas for Small Outdoor Spaces with Just 5 Plants by Lucy Bellamy. And we both got copies from our public libraries.
Yeah. And the library is a great place to go and look up books, especially in the summertime.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. You want me to do the quote? Is it my
Of
turn?
course I do.
I saw the sea put on her dress of blue midsummer loveliness. I heard the wind call out and say, "Get up, my dear, it is today." That's Rachel Field. I thought that was a beautiful little poem.
It is a beautiful little poem. And I have started to read and I've never finished it. Rachel Field's book. I forget the name of it. I'll have to look it up. But she's a famous author
It
from
can go
Maine.
in our it can go in our Substack.
Yeah, there you
Our
go.
dirt. You found our dirt. Tell us all about it.
I found this new Substack. It's called Flowerology. And so this author, and I think she's either in Germany or England, but she does the cutest little pictures and drawings of the flowers and goes into depth about as she describes it, illustrated stories based on the etymology of our wildflowers. If you wonder why a daisy is called a daisy or where spine-tingling names like devil's bit scabious come from, this is the place to be. I don't think she has a book. I hope she has a book. And for example, her last post was on a flower called Rest Haro, and I've never heard of it. And so it's just a lot of interesting information about it. And then her sweet little drawing. She puts a lot of work into it, a lot of work into it. So I thought our listeners might like Flowerology as well.
I did. I signed up for it. When I was reading through our stuff this morning when I was updating my notes, I was like, yeah, I'll go follow that now. And then it gave me like 3 other follows. You know how it'll do
Yeah, you could just
sometimes.
say no, skip. Just say skip.
I don't think I skipped because I have a lot of new followy things, but that's okay. No problem. I will unfollow them if I don't like them. If I do like them, I'll stay. So our rabbit holes. I found a new to me gardener. And I found her on Instagram, and I have no idea how. The algorithm must have coughed it up.
Yay.
For once, there's that whole, we should say, there's that whole thing on Peaches and whatever her husband's
Peaches
name
and
is now,
Diesel.
Peaches and Diesel. She's the one who makes the clothes for our listeners. She makes clothes and makes fun of runway models. And she and her sister-in-law, I think it was her sister-in-law,
Right.
got up one morning with their coffee and they were like, "We are going to train the algorithm." And that was the funniest post about them trying to get certain things put in and other things to go away. And so
Right.
I was really happy when the algorithm in its infinite, changeability, sent me this Scotland garden. And she's part of the Scotland garden scheme, which is like the UK's garden scheme. And the garden is called Mouse Garden.
That is sweet.
It is such a sweet, sweet set of videos. For one thing, she's from England and she's got that lovely accent, lives in Scotland, and she was thrilled to be in the garden scheme. So that was a really fun reel. And then I just went down into the rabbit hole and I watched a whole bunch of her videos and thoroughly
Cool.
enjoyed them.
Speaking of videos, are you caught up on Outrageous?
No, no, I
Okay.
suspect I know what happens, but don't tell me.
Well, no. What happens does not happen. I think you'll
Okay.
be surprised where it ends, but that is the end of season 1, and they said the whole thing was to be like the Mitfords in the 30s. So, but really tons of stuff happens to those sisters in the 40s, and so I found an article in Town and Country magazine which is a British
Mhm.
magazine, I think. But anyway,
It
they
is.
talked about, they haven't BritBox is not committed to a season 2, but most of the actresses and actors would like to have a season 2.
Heck
They're
yeah.
really into the characters, and anyway, you will enjoy watching the last episode, I think.
I think I will too because, well, I just really enjoy it. And then I sent you a reel on Debo, and it
Yes,
was
the
really, really
Duchess,
good. Yeah, the Duchess, isn't she the youngest?
the youngest, Devo, yeah,
Mhm.
Stubbs.
She's the only one she's the only one who really had her head on straight, but
She did, and the actress who plays her said, in the 40s, Deborah Mitford was hanging out with the Kennedy kids who were over there
yeah,
with their dad. Joseph was the ambassador to England, so Kit Kennedy and John, they were all hanging out together, and
she knew everybody. She was
she
very
did. She was friends with John Kennedy. She went to his inauguration in 61, 60.
yes, I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, I do hope they continue it, and you should watch the last episode and
Okay, I will. I forgot it was switching over, so we'll
to
watch it
me, it
sometime.
kinda hangs on a cliffhanger that says, "Yeah, we need another season."
Yeah, we definitely need another season. Oh, as long as we're talking about shows, I watched North and South again, which is not the North and South in the United States. This is the English one. And that is such a good mini series. And it was done in 2005. And
Yeah?
it has all these actors that we now see him now, like the guy who plays Mr. Bates in Downton Abbey,
Uh-huh.
the valet.
Right.
He plays Nicholas in the original one. And they're just, I don't know, it's just so well done. And the man, I can't think of the actor that plays the main character, Mr. Reddington or whatever his name is. He he's as good as Darcy in his own way. So there you go.
Hmm. Well,
It's
I
very good. I think you'll enjoy it. Somebody asked me if it was clean. I said, "Yes, it is squeaky clean. Squeaky clean.
and
There's
what
not."
is it on? Where did you watch it?
I actually found it on Peacock, but I bet you can find it other places. I just
Yeah.
subscribed to Peacock for 1 month so I could watch it because I saw the ending scene on Instagram and I thought, "I wanna see that again." I saw that 20 years ago when it came out, and it's just so she also wrote it's by the lady who wrote Crampton, which is oh, what's her name? Well, I can look it up while we're talking about your lost lady.
Well, I have 2 things to say in regards to books. I just finished reading The Fortnight in September, which is by R.C. Sheriff or
Mhm.
Sharif, written
Sharif,
in
probably.
written in 1931, D.
Wow, talk about clean, I bet it was clean.
Very clean.
Um,
It's about a family. It's the mom and the dad, 2 older children and a younger son, a boy and a girl and another boy, and their annual vacation to the seaside in September.
oh, how
And it just
nice.
goes from the day before all the way through, and it's sort of it's just how, families, like, they always go a certain week and they stay in the same place and do the same things, and so it's kind of along that lines, but it was very interesting. And
And very fun and soothing to read, probably.
yes, and I
It
don't
looks
know
like
where
this is also on Netflix too,
okay, I don't get either one.
and the author is Elizabeth Gaskell.
I do have heard of her.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to
That's okay.
keep go ahead. Go ahead and tell
But
me the rest of the show.
I picked out some quotes for him, and this one quote, it says, well, I can't find it now. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty interesting book, and so it's clean, 1931.
Yeah, I'm reading that one from the 1940s, Catherine. It's
I
sad.
you know
It's
what?
good.
I went on and looked, and I was gonna check it out from the library, and then Amazon said, "By the way, Carol, you bought this book in 2021 on your Kindle." I'm like, "I did?
Oh, well, good.
Is it thick?"
Uh-uh. No, just
Okay,
regular. But I've just been reading it when I take a bath in the afternoon, if I take one, so, it's gonna be
okay.
a while.
Well, I think I'm gonna read it. But I did go down a rabbit hole one afternoon this past week because I think it was threatening to storm or it was just too hot.
Mhm.
And, this woman really challenged my sleuthing skills, Dee. I was like, "Where
Ooh,
are
you are
you?"
good.
And, you know what? I found some, newspaper articles about her, and I pieced together some things, and I kept going back to Ancestry, and she was born in Indiana, and grew up in Anderson. So
Huh.
that'll be
Have
next
you
week.
so you haven't written about her yet?
She is coming next week,
Next week.
but I've
I
got
also
all the
dragged
details.
you I dragged you down into a really awful crime deal because it happened in
You did. You
Indiana.
did.
But
There's
it
a
was
crime.
interesting.
It's Fox
Fox Hollow.
Hollow Farms up in Westfield, Indiana. There were horrific crimes committed there. They are still. I sent you some stuff on that
They're still
about.
finding bodies.
Well, sent you stuff on that about how the place is haunted.
Well, yes, because and I already knew that piece of the, discussion because I was with the sleuths in that miniseries I watched. I was with the sleuths as they went through the house
Yes,
and
and
they said it was haunted. But I don't really believe in haunted houses, so I
the
just think that
crime
guy
junkies
was
had
horrible.
Crime Junkies also did an episode on it. If somebody wants to get a quick overview of this horrific crime that Dee decided that I should just really explore
Well,
in
it
more
was in
depth.
Indiana.
It was up in Westfield.
That's
Yeah, it was
why I always
scary.
tell you. I watched one yesterday because I watch A&E on YouTube, and I watched a cold case out of Oklahoma, and it was
There you
about
go.
2 girls, and it I had forgotten the story, and it was good to watch it.
Okay.
Shouldn't forget these people that get hurt. All right, so garden commissions, I'll say mine first. I'm gonna deadhead till I drop, and I mean, seriously, I need to deadhead everything. It's that time of year. You know
Right?
how Chelsea chop is when you're like, "Oh, crap, I need to chop everything." Well, now I need to deadhead everything. And also, my purple smoke trees, we've gotten so much rain this year that I need to chop them way back. They think that they're giant trees now, and I'm like, "I don't want you to be giant trees." Harvest more vegetables, and I was gonna say, I'm really enjoying my jalapenos that have no heat. Alpha gal breaks out my tongue, and so I used to love spicy food, but it's
Right?
also high histamine, and so these are great. I used one in a dish last night, and it was wonderful because you could taste the jalapeno, it just didn't burn your mouth. My husband was thrilled because he didn't
Cool.
like spicy food, and used to I used to feed it to him. So what about you? What shall you do?
So I'm basically going to garden, kind of the same thing. I have no particular task in mind other than pick what's ripe. I need to deadhead. I need to weed. The one area back, it's just a mess of overgrowth because we've had so much growth this year. But I'm going to remember to enjoy the garden as well. That is it.
Okay, so one additional thing about Monarda.
Yeah,
So Gigi's Garden Tips, it might be geeky, but I think it's Gigi. She was on Instagram and she said if you just take the tip of Monarda off, it'll rebloom. So I'm trying it. I've always
that
cut
is
them
good.
way back and they do not rebloom. But I thought I'll take some tips off and just see.
You do that. Let
It's
me
an
know how that goes.
experiment.
All right, I'm going to wrap us up. And yes, we have to wrap up, Dee, because maybe people don't know this stuff. Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelist. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time.
I think they all skip it. If you subscribe to our free newsletter, you get a link to listen to the podcast a day early. And you really should because it's a good newsletter. You also get links to products we discuss. Some of these are affiliate links, which are now in a new tab. Plus, you can now go over to YouTube and see how scary my hair is today. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays.
And I would like to say something about our Substack from last week. We do not know what happened, but the original version that I sent to Dee and say, okay, fluff it up, that's what went out. And so it's like
We
Dee's
have no
texting
idea
me,
why.
what happened? What happened? And Dee figured out how to get the actual version that we wanted out there. So if you went back and read it on Substack and not just in your email, you got the corrected version. And then
It
I'd
was
like to,
bizarre. It was just
yeah.
bizarre. It shows up and it had the first paragraph that I'd written and the rest of it was just links. And I was like,
Uh,
where'd all that verbiage go? All right.
and then the other thing is, if you are watching us on YouTube, you need to like and subscribe so
It
that
helps.
so it'll show you the new episodes. Anyway, if you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we earn a small commission and it costs you nothing.
Or you can set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout, or you can make a one-time donation through PayPal.
Thank you to everyone who's done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody. And don't be skipping the ending.